Hey, good Wednesday morning, everybody. This is First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich. Here's an update on our cold, wet weather heading our way today. I mean, it is going to be frigid. It almost feels like it should snow everywhere, but unfortunately for a lot of us, it's going to be a miserable cold rain. And in the mountains, we're talking about ice and maybe a little bit of sleet. Let's get right to the watches and warnings and advisories. Now, these are the winter weather advisories, which are in purple. You can see that includes most of Burke County, Caldwell County, Alexander County, even up here as you go towards just north of Winston-Salem there, just to the west of Greensboro, and then upper Greenville County, South Carolina. Then the pink, this is all a winter storm warning. Now, this is not for snow. This is for ice. We're talking primarily some sleet changing to freezing rain. The setup in the atmosphere is not set up for a big snow event. Though as you go further north into Virginia, West Virginia, up in here, we could see some snow. And if you want some snow today, back here across the Ohio Valley, even into Arkansas, looks to be a pretty good bet for some snow today. But that's a look at the freezing rain potential, basically where you see the winter storm warning in effect for our area. Now, there's also a flood watch up for the entire area, which does include all of the Piedmont. And we are going to see heavy rain across the entire area, but that's kind of a given. So I'm not going to show you the flood watch. Just know everybody else, you're under a flood watch. So let's get right to the details of all this here. I'll plot it real quickly. You see the green. There's the flood watch in effect in the dark green, which we'll get into more in a moment. Let me show you the radar right now. We're going to turn the radar on here. We'll back this out a little bit and kind of show you the big plume of moisture coming up from the south. Now, you see the upper system. This is the upper low where the snow is. This is moving to the east. At the same time, a surface low is going to form and push up here. Now, the difference compared to Monday, which was a miserable cold rain, this is actually going to be colder because let me show you the surface observations. I'm going to turn these on real quickly. You could see the air mass moving in from the north is much, much colder. Temperatures in the teens up here in 20s. That air is getting transported down here into the Carolinas. Now, it's a very shallow cold air mass, which means it's going to hug the ground. We're talking about maybe the lowest 1,000, maybe 2,000, maybe 3,000 feet. But up around 5, 8, 9, 10,000 feet, warm air from the Gulf of Mexico and full of a lot of moisture is going to be streaming up here and overrunning that cold air at the surface. So that's your classic, what we call cold air damming, and your classic setup for ice, especially in areas in the mountains. Now I'm going to show you the future cast here as I load it up to show you how this unfolds tonight through tomorrow. All right, so let's get right to the forecast here. So here's the setup today. You can see our upper low back here with the snow. Our surface low is here. This is moving up here. This is going to move here. At the same time, cold air is coming in from the northwest. Pretty much your classic, what we call cold air damming setup. So watch this unfold. We're going into the afternoon hours. Let's stop this at 5 p.m. and I'm going to go in real close here. And remember, green is rain, liquid rain. When you start to see the reds, that's freezing rain. When you see orange, that's going to be sleet, and obviously white to blue is going to be snow. So here we are. We'll go to about 8 o'clock tonight. I'm going to stop it right here. So you can see that we're getting some pretty good icing going on in the mountains. A couple things going on here. The cold air gets trapped up against the mountains, and then we're going to have flow coming from the southeast and the northeast. When that hits the mountains, that lifting actually creates a cooling condition right there. So you actually are cooling the air right in that vicinity on the eastern facing slopes. And as we go through time, you could see, man, boy, that ice really expands quite a bit. Now, the pink and red is a little bit of a mixture of sleet and freezing rain mixing in. So the pink is where you're getting a mixture. So you're likely getting a little bit of sleet mixing in. Even notice over into here, but the bulk of this is right in here. So we're getting close to midnight tonight, 1 a.m. We'll go to about 2:30, 2:40 a.m. So you can kind of see the area really north of Interstate 40. So I'm getting a lot of questions about down in here. Certainly we could see some sleet mix in here, but it's going to change pretty quickly. This is such heavy precipitation, and because the warm air is above our heads, the heavier the rain is, it actually brings the warm air down to the surface. And just this is kind of a science geeky thing, but when water freezes, it releases heat. If you remember back to science class, to heat something up, you add energy to it, or heat. To cool something down, you remove the heat. So when you remove the heat from water to freeze it, that heat has to go somewhere. And in the atmosphere, that goes into the air. So One of the weird things about freezing rain and frozen precipitation is if you're freezing the water at the surface, you're actually helping to warm up the air, because as you remove that heat from the water, it goes into the air and heats it up. Now, one way you can battle that is if you get a consistent flow of cold air to replenish that air mass and keep it cold. That's how you get persistent ice storms. But in this case, because the precipitation is so heavy, I actually think eventually the warm air is going to win out. But it's going to be a long enough duration here in the mountains. You can see it freezing rain through 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11, and noon tomorrow. Things start to calm down as the temperature finally warms up. But then on the back side of this, it changes to snow as cold air wraps around the backside. And this will be late Thursday night. So in the mountains, you're going to go from sleet to ice to rain back to snow. But as you notice, everybody east of the mountains, this is just all rain. I'll go back one more time and you can see that's just a lot of rain. Here's the thing. The rain falling here is going to be falling in temperatures about 36 degrees. So it's not exactly, balmy at all. It's going to be brutally cold. So the area we're watching for most significant ice obviously is pretty much highlighted right here from Asheville to about right here. This is your highest chance. Can't rule out some sleet mixing in here, but it's not going to be a big deal. Now, because the ground is so warm, most of the roads might just be wet. But bridges, overpasses, elevated surfaces, always going to be an issue. And I'm really, really concerned about, power lines and trees. Now, real quickly, the rainfall, didn't talk much about this, but the flood threat is real. Because of the rain we got on Monday, with additional 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches, flooding could be a big concern in areas here. So we're worried about flooding here in about 35 degrees. We're worried about freezing rain and temperatures about 32, 29. So just a big old mess that's going to develop here. And this system is already taking shape. I'll widen this back out. I'm going to turn this off real quick. And I'll show you the radar one more time. And you can see the system already taking shape here to our southwest. So just an ugly 24 to 36 hour period. So if you're in the mountains, be ready for power outages, slick roads, starting tonight through all day Thursday. And everybody else, be ready for flash flooding. If you get a chance today, go out and clean those storm drains out. If you can do that, that would certainly help a whole lot, because the potential for flooding really increases as we get these leaves coming off the trees and then going into those storm drains and kind of clogging them up. Of course, I'll be posting updates throughout the day, throughout the night, and into tomorrow. We'll have you covered here on my Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, WCNC app. Every way you can get it, we'll get it to you as soon as possible.